Bonjour mes amis, bienvenue à Avignon, en France. Welcome to Avignon. Actually not Avignon, I'm in Nîmes, which I have to say before I say anything else, it is a pretty amazing town. I honestly thought it was just a little place, you know, a little town worth spending about an afternoon, maybe a whole day, but not at all. There's so much to see here. This is a metropolis. It's a big city, like not, you know, Paris, Rome, London big, but like there's a lot going on, you know. In fact, it does remind me of Paris. Now, I've only been there for like 3 days, saw a lot of photos and stuff, but just the fact that there's these big, wide open French style roads that like then move into smaller, quainter, more charming alleyways and villages and cafes and stuff. It really does have that vibe, along with like the southern Provençal feel. And that makes sense because this back in the day was, you know, a big crossroads in the trading network for the Romans. You can see behind me the amphitheater, which on this trip I've gone to see a lot of Roman ruins, including a visit here. Went all through it. It is supposedly the most well-preserved amphitheater outside of Rome. It also has what they call the Maison Carrée, which is another Roman ruin, but it's a temple. And it's supposed to be the most well-preserved temple outside of Italy, which is interesting. They actually call this place French Rome, just because of the importance of the city back in Roman times, but also just the fact that they've preserved all of these Roman ruins, including a Temple of Diana, which was kind of fun to check out. And in this great big park, which of course led to up the hill to another old thing that I can go climb, which is the Tour Magne, or Torre Magnus. And that was quite a thing. Like, that's the other part that reminds me of Paris, is because not only does it have a tall tower, but that you can climb, but it also is on a big tall hill. Let's check that out. So I made it. The Tour Magna. It's an old Roman watchtower. It was the tallest that was around here back in the 1st century BC, when they built a big defense system, including a big wall that went around Nîmes. And they're quick to tell you that that wasn't even necessary. It was more of a prestige thing rather than a defensive thing, but obviously it would turn into that later after the Romans. But yeah, what a climb. Not only was it up this big long hill and zigzagging through the gardens and stuff, but then you have to climb this gnarly spiral staircase. And then at some point there were some like trapped pigeons who were not happy that I was trying to come up. So I had to negotiate around them, and then eventually, while I was at the top, the two remaining ones just fluttered right past me. But when I'm that high up, I'm freaked out anyway, so that wasn't helpful at all. That was fun though. So yeah, on the way back, of course, I had to go check out more Roman ruins, and I found the end of the Nîmes aqueduct. So you'll remember from previous videos that I was at the Pont de Gare, which was the aqueduct that brought the water into this town back when it was the most important town in this area, because it was right on the highway that you could go from Spain to Italy, or obviously up to France, or the rest of France. And so yeah, it was a really important, it was an important town at the time, so they needed to get that water down there. And what's interesting, I didn't actually know this at all either, but This is a little spot in the southern part of France that's just north of the Pyrenees. And the Umayyads, the Muslim empire that had expanded all through northern Africa, or from the Middle East into northern Africa, and then up through up into Spain, actually did take this town for a while. It was Charles Martel and his brother, and then I think one of their grandsons, who eventually took the town, or back to Christendom or whatever. But there's still some Muslim hints at Muslim burial sites and things like that for that short period that this was run by them. So it's just super interesting. There's so much going on here. And typical to all of the other places that I've been on this trip, there were Vandals and Visigoths, or Romans and Carthaginians and Vandals and Visigoths, and later the French, took over this portion. It became its own kingdom, all that kind of stuff. So a lot of history, a lot of cool stuff. It was in the 1650s that this town had a resurgence, like its own renaissance, and became a big commercial hub, big into the textile industries. Fun fact, did you know that denim is named for practices that they had here? So it was denim was a new way of creating fabrics that were a little more sturdy, it's called de Nîmes, denim. Yeah, so from here, de Nîmes, denim. Fun. I also found out that it's got a sister city, or it's got plenty of sister cities, including Cordoba, but one of them, Preston, in the UK. But yeah, more importantly is this place is full. There's so much going on here. Like, I'm in this big plaza here, and there was another one by the other Roman ruins, and it's just such a cool vibe. Like, you probably could hear that fountain. They've got churches all over the place. I did try to get to the cathedral. It's under construction, so no real point in taking photos of the outside. But I did light another candle for Nancy. I don't know why I'm doing that, to be honest, but I'm, it's bringing me some kind of comfort. I really hope that nobody sees that as disrespectful because I'm lighting candles for my dog, but maybe they'd like it better. So yeah, she's got candles lit in Avignon, in Orange, in Arles, now in Nîmes, Seville, Cordoba, Cadiz. So, I'm lighting candles all over the place. So it's interesting. But I did happen to check out the Église Saint-Baudile de Nîmes, right? So Saint-Baudile Church. And that was impressive. It's a big church. It's huge. And it's got those two big steeples, which is a little bit of a break from the normal, the more common look to the cathedrals down here. And it's much more modern French looking, almost English, when they shared that same architectural styles. And that, so I wouldn't call it English exactly, but very cool. Got to see that on the inside as well, and yeah, really great. But I'm getting the sense that I've just touched the surface. This town is too big to see in one day. It's too big to see, and I'm starting to think maybe I should come back here when I can, when I can spend a little bit more time here. And it's got a really good vibe. It seems to have like kind of a mix of, more like Parisian, modern, with the, I say modern, but I mean it's more like, it's more like, the 1800s, 1800s, when that big building renaissance started coming, and those Haussmannian, is that how you pronounce that? Haussmannian buildings that they just created all over Paris and that. So anyway, it's got a mix of that modern and neo-modern style, and really cool. And one of the coolest things about this town is first off, the train station is actually pretty cool looking. It's not just like a plain train station. It looks like it's been built with Roman ruins itself. But as soon as you get out and you start walking towards the city, there's this great big pathway, like a runway almost, to get you introduced to the city. And they have running water on the sides, these little like mini canals and stuff. And then you get to this big, fountain area, this big open area where people are congregating. And then of course you finally get to the how are you? Thank you. And then finally you get to the old amphitheater, right? It's just very cool. Like, it's a very cool town. They know how to introduce it. And then of course, like, I haven't even like gone into like the shops. I was walking through the small little streets, smelling some food, and I started to get really hungry. Unfortunately, it's going to rain. So I don't think I'm going to stick around long enough to take any night photos, because what's the point in the middle with all the rain? But yeah, I'm very, very happy I came here. I was going to skip it, to be honest. Like, my tickets got canceled last weekend, and so I figured, I'll go somewhere else, because I did have a couple of places in mind. But yeah, I'm really glad I came. Yeah, I've got to reevaluate my opinion on this city, because maybe this is another candidate to stay for a little while. Next time I'm in the area, of course. But anyway, I hope you had a good time walking through the city with me. I hope you're thinking about going on your own adventures. I hope you're doing well, because I certainly am doing well. And if you're watching this on YouTube, I'd love a subscription. That would be fantastic. Really, really helps me out. But those comments and likes, I really, really appreciate it. Thank you. I really appreciate the fact that you guys are watching, the fact that you guys are interacting. Really means a lot. So there'll be another video tomorrow. My last day in Avignon, day 28, is tomorrow. So we'll see how that shakes out. With that said, I will talk to you guys tomorrow. À demain. Au revoir. Bye, everybody.